Okay. So I'll quickly go through the slides which we have to discuss today. So just watch this. Okay, so with relevance to this discussion on reaching out to the first 1,000 customers, what is the last question which you would be asking yourself at the end of this session? What's the last question which you would be asking yourself at the end of this session? Would anybody like to answer?
I mean,
how do we come to CNBC? With an involvement in the
Hello? Yes?
sir, I would want to know about which geography to start with, and if there are a mix of possible customers, the targeted customers, which one to go for first?
Okay. Which one to go first? Next. Anybody else would like to answer?
Sir, in my view, I will go for just the opposite territory. Just like if something is getting easily manufactured in the North India and the demand is there in South India, so most probably I would be selling my products in the South part because their demand is good and localized players are not there. So there, my good returns could be there possibility.
Okay. Anybody else?
One more thing which I would want to know, like what is the real number for ideal early adopters? How many should I try to onboard while we are iterating to build our product?
Okay, how many should you onboard? Okay. Okay. So, yeah.
We're in the ideation stage, but we just did a little bit of a pilot study about our product. So
Okay.
now is the next step how to get the first clients and customers. So
Okay.
at
Okay.
least reaching the first 10, that would be my target at present.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else would like to answer? Okay. So let's move ahead then. So I'll share a link in the chat. So you need to answer, from where do you think startups in India get their first 1,000 customers from? So you need to give 3 answers in the form of words, and we'll see all the answers in the word cloud. Okay. Sure. I posted the link in the chat, so please open that link and give your responses. From where do you think startups in India are getting their first 1,000 customers from? Is everyone able to open the link? Okay, so let's see what everybody is thinking. So one is the social media, which uh, we have been using almost every day, especially YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The second one, the most famous one is word of mouth. Yes, family and friends, paid advertising, Google ads in e-commerce, from personal networks, beta testing, past associates. Yeah, and public crowd display. Attending events, forming communities. Okay, so more or less we have covered most of the things which everybody knows of how startups in India are getting their 1,000 customers. However, let's try to understand from the point of view of why those approaches are required, when those approaches are required, how much should you spend, how much should we spend on advertising, and are there any other creative solutions which we can follow to get reach out to our target customers and so on. Okay, so now these are some solutions which some of you have shared, and these are available in a simple Google search. You know, do viral marketing, do PR, unconventional PR. That means promoting advertisements and all. Build a website, do search engine marketing, display ads. You know, do offline ads on billboards, on newspapers, etc., etc., and then do search engine optimization and work on your websites, and then do content marketing, post it in blogs, post it in LinkedIn, post it in Instagram, and write in others blogs, send emails to all the target customers and see how many will respond, and do business development and sales, on ground sales activities, affiliate programs, partner with somebody's like influencers, etc., etc., to get promotions, and then use existing platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho, etc., etc., participate in trade shows, networking events, exhibitions, participate in offline events, when you let people invite us as speakers or guests in their talk shows, etc., etc., and building communities. So these are the some of the things which uh, people do and people follow, and this is ready available in in simple Google search also. So but before this, let's try to understand that these solutions depend on the kind of business we are in. If we are in a B2B business, reaching out to 1,000 will be probably taking a lot of time. Maybe 10 customers or 10 free customers might be enough for, maybe 10 customers or 20 customers might be enough for them to initially begin with. But when we are in B2C, when we are doing directly with consumer, or D2C, direct to consumer, so there, this 1,000 might be very small. Think of the number of orders Swiggy delivers in a day. It could be very huge. For them, 1,000 is almost nothing, right? Think of somebody who is making, tires for a car. For them, there are not many car manufacturers. There are at max 20 to 30 at max car manufacturers in India or across the world. So beyond that number, they probably doesn't make sense for them to plan to 1,000, right? So it totally depends on the business model of the company. And naturally, some of these are applicable to your own ventures, and some of these are not really advisable to your ventures. So getting into the nitty-gritty of which exactly fits your venture is something which we need to do on a one-on-one basis, and something which will do it in phase 3 or phase 4, to figure out what is the right solution. So I would like to take a brief pause here and let you ask any questions which you might have in these existing channels and existing solutions. Is there anything specific which you would like to learn from these specific ready-made solutions? Any queries, any doubts regarding these?
Sorry to interrupt, but this is not regarding the slide. Some founders are unable to join in from the link. So could you just kindly check?
From which link, ma'am?
From the link that was sent to join this, to register and join. So the
It is
joining link is not working.
It is working. So just ask them to, check the link once again, because everybody is able to join.
Okay, fine. I'll just ask them to retry. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
What is unconventional PR, sir?
Unconventional PR is something like a guerrilla marketing. Okay, so let me give you the example
Sorry,
of.
what is that? Which marketing?
It's something like guerrilla marketing.
Okay.
Okay, it's like nowadays sometimes
Third
in
one,
shopping malls
unconventional.
a few years back people used to do suddenly to the center and start doing dances, right? Have you observed some things like that? People
Yes, sir.
yes. Okay, and then suddenly this ice bucket challenge, to promote water wastage or something like that.
Yeah.
Ice bucket challenge,
Yep.
and there are so
Yes.
many.
Mentos soda.
Yes, and sometimes what happened was, there is this case study on. So there is this case, you can check this. There is a case on something called exo beers. Okay. Okay. So this exo beer, what happened was, some marketing agency, exo beer. Okay, I forgot the name of this, but there was this observation that people are going to digital media for making promotions of their products and services. However, people who are using the traditional media like print media, televisions, etc., they were concerned about people going to digital media and neglecting their traditional media. Okay, so now they wanted to communicate something to everybody that traditional media is ready to stay here. So what they did, they went to an organization called Ogilvy and Mather, and they did a campaign. They promoted a product and published an ad about it in newspapers. Okay, and it was about beers. Okay, and they promoted the beer in such a way that this is a wonderful beer, this is excellent, your life will change if you drink this, etc. And later they figured out that there was no such beer. Okay, how did they figure out that? Because people started going to all the beer shops and they started asking about this particular flavor of beer. And when they were asking, the beer shop owners were like, "Oh, what is this? We don't know about this." And then discussion started, and everybody found out that this was something which was not existing. And then when people figure out why such a thing was made, Then they announced saying that, print media is existed, traditional media is existing to say, will stay. This is the proof of it. We promoted something in the traditional media, and people were curious. People came to know about the advertisement, etc., etc. So traditional media is also working. So that is something which is unconventional. Okay.
This
Thank you,
10th
sir.
point,
Sir,
engineering as marketing. So how do you go about that?
Engineering as marketing. It's probably something like this. When there are some hardware startups. Let's say we have a startup in electric vehicle mobility. Okay, in electric vehicle mobility, there is one startup who makes batteries. Okay, so the startup only makes batteries. So, but if they want to make the battery, they have to invest some 5 crores or 10 crores and build a factory to get all the tools and techniques, etc., to build that battery. However, they found an alternative way of assembling the batteries themselves till the time they needed to drastically scale up. Okay, and then they can say that this is handmade. Okay, this we have manually fitted it so that its accuracy is more, etc. Okay, let's say you are doing handmade sari, handloom sari. So sometimes you can promote that entire task of doing it manually as a pitching material, saying that we have made it with our own hands. It's something like that. Is it clear, ma'am?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. It's basically like you manufacturing that on your own.
Yes, you are
So
doing
you
it
are
on your own and
promoting
giving it a personalized kind of experience.
more like a homemade, like
Yeah, you can say that
homemade thing.
homemade
If we promote
chicken.
some homemade food.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I remember one more example where basically in some foreign country, if let's say Indians are going to Switzerland for a tour for a few days. Okay, then ideally, if there are some elderly people, or you wanted to explore let's say you are a South Indian and you go to Switzerland and you want to see how South Indian food is, being used or eaten in Switzerland. Now, naturally, all the hotels there won't have South Indian restaurants. So now what one startup thought was, okay, what I will do is I will create a platform where I will ask whoever tourist is coming if they would like to get home cooked food during their stay. Okay, and then they collaborated with a few houses of various kinds of communities, and whenever they got uh, an input saying that one traveler is about to come in 3 weeks time, and they collaborated with the house and they created their customized homemade South Indian food made by South Indian community members in Switzerland, and then they somehow delivered it to the tourist who came. So that is something. How are they positioning it? It's something like this. Okay.
So could you
Thank you, sir. Yes.
sir, could you explain this community building and existing platforms?
Existing platforms like you have Facebook and you can go sell your products, promote ads, etc. Okay, or you can go to Amazon, you can sell your products, etc. Or there could be Misho kind of a thing, not just online. There could be online. Let's say, how do you put your products in something like a more supermarket, or in in something like that. Some existing platforms are available where they facilitate transaction between buying and selling, and you use that. And community building, I'll tell you. So for example, one of our startups in previous cohort, what they wanted to do was, she wanted to sell handloom sarees. Okay, when she wanted to sell handloom sarees, she earlier had a shop in some of the old places, old town in Visakhapatnam. However, because of powerloom and transition of market to purchasing in online and purchasing in shopping malls, people stopped coming to their shop. Now she wanted to sell this particular handloom made special sarees to the target customers. Now, how did she go about it? What she did, she figured out that there are uh, let's say 5 apartments with more than 200 people living in Visakhapatnam in 2018. Let us say, for example. Now, what she did, she made some people through her network. She got access to, let's say, one person from each apartment. And then she said, hey, instead of you going to a shopping mall or online or to any other shop to buy a saree, what if I will give you some 100 sarees to sell? Okay, and that mediator will have a stock of 100 sarees. And then what she will do, she will go to all the apartments, all her community members in that particular apartments and pitch about the particular kind of sarees. Okay, in that way, she has built a small community in that apartment through one POC, and she started to sell the saree. So building communities will help. Okay, another example could be, Xiaomi or these Poco, all these new age smartphone companies. What they are trying to do is they are trying to build a community where they can say, they have a platform. Let's say it's a WhatsApp channel or a website channel where all their users can come and contribute to the uh, uh, development of the next product. They can come and give reviews. They can come and give their expectations. They can come and share their photographs which they are taken from the from mobile phones. So in that way, they are building a nice community. And if somebody wants to understand how a phone is functioning, what features are there, instead of only relying on YouTube or the website ads or anything like that, if there is a community, they can go and check all questions. Sometimes we get this question, no, how do we change the wallpaper of my phone? You go and ask in some Google, and Google will find out if somebody else also had the same question and if they answered it. But instead of going to Google, if you go to this community and you for a fact know that people are actively engaging and interacting, it is a better place to begin with, right? So that is community building. Okay, anything else?
And Harsha, what is the AI programs?
Sorry, I have a question after this.
What is the EAL program? Sorry, ma'am, I didn't get your question. Okay, so
I have a question though. How is community building different from MLM then, multi-level marketing? Because what you are describing as a point of contact, and then I'm providing them with a product, and then they are furthering my product, and then multi-level marketing is also very similar. We have a big company, they give you a product, you earn some benefit out of it, and they further it. So how is
in multi-level, as the word itself says, there are multiple levels. Okay, let us say, what if I say, if the community building you understood, right? There is one POC for one apartment, and she is contacted with 100 or 200 people. Okay, what if I say now? Say I tweak this. Okay, now I say my POC is in first floor, and all the people in first floor are one level. All the people ground floor are at other level. All the people in higher levels are third level. Okay. What if I say the person at the top, they sell to the second lowest level, they will get extra benefits. Now the second level people, if they sell to first level, the second level people will also get extra benefits. So the number of people who are making money will increase.
Correct.
Right? But in a simple community, there is only a community. Let's say Xiaomi is not giving any money for the people who are coming and posting in that community blog. So what is making that people come and post the blog is because they're excited to be a part of, let's say for example, OnePlus, when they launched their phone, they said it's only an invite only the existing users of the phone can recommend somebody else. So that exclusivity is something which is making them come to that community and participate and contribute and enjoy. It's like the privilege access. Okay, something like that. So if somebody wants to give an input, and if the company is responsive to take that input and put that in the next version of the product, if that is giving them satisfaction of contributing to the upcoming development of the program, even though they are not being paid or anything like that, that is community building.
Okay. Thank
Sir,
you for clarifying.
Like if we have different levels, and everyone is like having some profit from that, so the profit margin will keep going down and the product price will keep rising.
That depends on what your strategy is, ma'am. So that is altogether a different point to discuss. Yes, definitely the profits will decrease, but it depends on what your strategy is, right? So,
Yep.
So that is an altogether different thing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, quickly. We are running out of time. We have
So,
only.
sir, I have two questions here.
Yes, ma'am.
How is the search engine marketing is different with the search engine optimization? 1 point. And what is the affiliate program?
Affiliate program is something where you partner with somebody and get some leverage in return. For example, sometimes you see, right, you go to, let's say, buy a Dettol hand wash, and then they say you also get Colgate toothpaste as free. So both those two are not linked to each other, but because you're providing an incentive to those who are buying Dettol hand wash, so that is affiliate marketing. You contact with influencers are there, no? A lot of influencers these days promote. Suddenly you're watching a YouTube video, and in between they will come and promote one product. So for that, they are paying you.
Okay, got it.
Search engine marketing and search engine optimization is more related to your website. Whether your website will have relevant keywords when somebody is searching in a search engine, whether your website will come or not. Okay, so whether you're optimized to that or not is search engine optimization. Search engine marketing is basically you are giving ads in Google. So whether you're optimized or not, because you paid extra money, your website will come in the first ad.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you.
Marketing. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let's move ahead. So no matter what the solution is, okay, it's basically you must be knowing this term called hustle. It's basically now people are associating this word hustle with entrepreneurship and startups, and it's basically working very hard, taking up challenges, identifying obstacles. Instead of stopping at the obstacle, you pursue that, try to identify a solution, and then make things happen, right? That is something called hustle. The hustle culture is what is driving the current startups and the entrepreneurs in India to push themselves and do more. So in simple terms, it's basically working hard with creative problem solving. Okay, so working hard is just not enough. You need to solve things creatively. What is creativity? Creativity is basically connecting 3 or 4 existing dots in a something new way to come up with something new. Okay, that is creativity. So you're only using something already existing and trying to fit those pieces in such a way that it is something adding to creativity. Like when I told you about the example of example of selling a saree through apartment building. So that is something creative. Okay, they're trying to do something different instead of going and putting the saree in Amazon and other e-commerce platforms or opening a big shopping mall. So instead of those approaches, she still worked hard, but she still identified some obstacles and tried to make things happen. Okay, so now these are some I did study some at least 20 companies to understand how they are reaching out the target customers, and I think this picture summarizes the best 7 strategies to reach out to the target customers. One is to reach out to your friends and colleagues. Now, why should you reach out to the friends and colleagues? Because they open you access to all their nodes. Okay, so you may not know your target customer, but your friends and colleagues may give you access to that target customers. It's like having 2nd degree and 3rd degree connections so that you can reach your target customers. So how did LinkedIn do? LinkedIn is a professional community. So they went to corporates and said, you give us access to this platform to your employees, and your employees can create a profile. Okay, and then Facebook also. So they used all their friends in the inner circles to come up, jump onto the platform and go ahead. Okay, and then reaching out to targeted strangers. So if you wanted to build a platform like YouTube, okay, in YouTube there are 2 sides. One is the person who is posting the content, and the second side is the person who is watching that content. Okay, if there is no video, nobody will come to watch. Okay, if nobody is coming to watch, then why will somebody make a video? So it's like a chicken and egg problem. So how do you solve this? So basically YouTube went and said to certain communities, let's say all people who are making videos, taking a camera and making videos of themselves. So they went and said, hey, why don't you all come to my platform and post your videos? Okay, Airbnb or something like Airbnb. So what did Airbnb do? What did Airbnb do? So what is Airbnb? Airbnb is basically something like Oyo. Okay, so what did Airbnb do initially? So in that particular geography which they were working in, all the hotels are getting booked very quickly, and there is no availability of hotels, but people are coming to the city. So what did they identify? They identified that these people also need to get some accommodation. So instead of going to a hotel, they said, why don't you lease a room in some of the empty apartments or people with lesser number of people? So they said, we will provide you an airbed and breakfast at the start of the morning. And so they went to the houses independently and targeted such houses which have availability of space to give to others. Okay, that is something which Airbnb did. Okay, the third thing is something very important, going where your customers are there. So this is something which did not come up in the previous solutions or in the live discussion. So going where your customers are and hanging out is some core way of figuring out who will purchase your product. For example, let's say Netflix. Netflix, when they came, there were only DVDs which are getting sold. Okay, so Netflix went to such communities where people are watching DVD-based movies, and they disguised themselves and they pitched about their ideas in such a way that some solution is there. Don't you know this? Everybody is using it, etc., etc. So in that way, they went to the community to find out how how the customers are behaving, how to pitch our solution, etc., etc. One more example which I can give you is about Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson is basically a masculine motorcycle. Okay, so for understanding how to design a vehicle for that, so they went around various communities and try to understand that people who are very people who have very muscular, people who have hair, long hairs, and people who who have certain characteristics. They identified that those people always go for long drives. Okay, and then they figured out that if these people are going for long drives and these people have this behavior and attitude in this way, and then we should design a vehicle for them in this particular way. So going where your communities are is a very important source for us to figure out and reach out to the first 1,000 or early customers or early adopters. For example, I am an incubation center. I work in an incubation center. So I need to meet startups. I need to meet investors. So where will I go? Where startups come? I have to go to the networking events where startups also will come. Let's say Your Story networking event, We Work networking event, something networking events which are organized by government. Let's say Startup Mahakumbh. So those are all the places where startups are there. So I need to go there and pitch about our startups. Or there could be groups in WhatsApp where startups are all available. That is the place where incubation center also should be there, because I need to promote the offering of the incubation center to the startup. So if I'm there in that community, in that group, whenever a call for application comes, I can easily pass out to them. Otherwise, what will I have to do? I also have to post it in social media, or I also have to give it in print media. What if the startup is not reading newspaper? So if I already know where my customers are in either offline or online, it will be a good way to start. The next way is to enlist influencers, paid or organically. Okay, for example, if you see all these influencers, okay, who are promoting a lot of products. Now, why is an advertiser going to an influencer and asking them to promote? Because they know that the target audience who are coming to that YouTube channel are also target audience for the company or the startup. And two, the values and thoughts and attitude of the influencer should align with the product which I am making. So if the product, if let's say pan, okay, if pan is being promoted by an influencer, let's say Akshay Kumar or somebody like that, why is Akshay Kumar being paid to promote pan? Because the pan company might think Akshay Kumar has a large fan base across the India in tier 2 and tier 3 also. That is why it makes sense if Akshay Kumar shows something, then everybody will eat. Okay, either it is a paid or it is an organical way. Okay, you can see a lot of LinkedIn influencers, a lot of Instagram influencers. All of a sudden, they will come and promote something very different from what they do. That's primarily because the startup which is going to influencer thinks that their target customer is also in the community of the influencers. And the next one is getting press. Okay, so what is getting press? Sometimes startups thinks that if I organize a gala introduction video or gala I call all the big heads of industries and I will organize a party, and then because of that party that news will get posted in all the social media, print media, etc., and they will get coverage. Sometimes influencers or startups do think in that way, to get press coverage first. But why will a press be interested in some new startup is something how we should convince them to, pitch about our press. Okay. And the next approach is to create something viral. Okay. What is a viral content? It is easy to, say that, this has become a viral content. But if we were to do something viral as that, it is very difficult. So something which happens organically, and though there are strategies to create viral content, it is very difficult to, do this viral content. One example which I can give you is that ice bucket challenge. Ice bucket challenge is one thing which is something has gone viral. Okay, everybody is talking about it. Okay, those are the things I'm sure which you also must be knowing about it. And the seventh one is get your physical placement. So with all the banners, with all the products, let's say you are coming to an incubation center. It's better that you put your product in an incubation center so that others also, whenever they come, they look at your product and they say, okay, such a product is existing. Okay, if you can put banners, you can put your logos everywhere in the wherever you think are their target customers are there for demo. Sometimes when you go to something like Novotel or when you go to shopping malls, they will, put vehicle. Nowadays they're putting cars and scooters also as demo. So by putting those vehicles physically, they are able to communicate it to their target audience that, hey, this product is looking like it will look like this exactly, instead of what you see in an online video or in a print ad. So if you see the product directly, and you don't have to come to my showroom to see that. So everybody is going to, let us say, uh, some X mall. They are going to put their cars and vehicles, etc. I'm sure many of you must have seen this. So these are the top 7 strategies which I found very, very relevant to the startups at our stages. Okay, so I'll quickly open the discussion for any queries or any observations, and then we will move forward. Okay.
So I have a query.
Okay.
Just like you mentioned that YouTube had content creators at the same time content consumers. Like to woo both these type of people, so there would be different strategy how to balance and how how to reach out to them, how to onboard them, and what should be the real number, how long one should
So
post.
there are various strategies. Basically, for example, it's basically it's like a chicken and egg problem. You don't get viewers without the videos. Without the viewers, there won't be people who create content. So one thing which we can do is to incentivize one person to come. Okay, let's say you incentivize all the content creators first. Okay, you give them some extra benefits, or some gifts, some free tools for designing their videos, etc., etc. So you put your cost in that, make them come to watch your videos, and then expect that the viewers will also come. Raising one is one strategy. Let's say Uber has picked up, right? So Uber has picked up. How did Uber start? They needed a cab, and they needed somebody who wanted to ride. If there is a no cust rider, then no cab driver will come onto the platform. So what did they do? They offered massive discounts to all the drivers, and they also offered massive discounts to all the riders. We already got this, 50% discount, 100 rupees good discount coupon. You walk, if you travel by bus, it will cost 30. If you come in a cab, it will cost 20. So they gave massive discounts, but are those discounts there now? Ideally, what should happen when the scale of the services improves? Our cost also should reduce, or the driver's remuneration or his allowances should also increase. But what happened? It happened in the reverse way. Now cab drivers are getting way more less. Now users are also paying way more high than what it used to be. Okay, so okay, some more questions very quickly.
So my question here would be, this is easy and great when you have a lot of cash flowing in, but how would you what's your priority when you have when your marketing budget is low?
No, all these people, you think that these are big people because you're thinking from 2024. When Airbnb started, nobody had a clue of what Airbnb is. They neither had funding, right? They were like you and me, a simple entrepreneur who saw a problem, who wanted to solve it.
But like Uber's campaign, YouTube's campaign have been when they became big. So that's what I'm thinking right now.
Okay, so I will give you a nice example. Okay, it's basically let's say one father had 2 children, one son and one daughter. Okay, now he is planning to get marriage alliances for both his son and his daughter. Okay, now he goes to a prospect who is willing to give his daughter to his son. Okay, now he will go to there and say that, hey, my daughter is getting married to the son of a union minister. Okay, and then what this guy will think, hey, okay, then I'm interested in giving my daughter to your son. So he went to the son's stakeholder and pitched him that his daughter is getting married to the union minister's son. Now he still didn't have that commitment. That union minister still didn't commit that he is going to give his son to his daughter. So now Instead of disclosing that to him, now he will next go to the union minister whose son might be interested in his daughter. Okay, so now he will go there and he will tell that, my son is getting married to the, a very big industrialist. Then union minister will say, hey, I am also excited to for this alliance. And then he will bring both of them in one place. Okay, the alliance partner for his son and the alliance partner for his daughter. And then he will make them sit, all three of them will sit together. And then they will all shake hands. Right?
Makes
So
sense.
let's understand this example. This is what happens with all the VCs and all the customers. These people, entrepreneurs, founders, startups will go to VCs and say that, hey, I have customers. I have identified a problem. Okay, and they will come to the customers and say, hey, you can start trusting me. You start using my service because I'm going to, scale up. I'm going to offer you better services, etc., etc.
Right, makes sense.
Thing which they do, which works. So it's ultimately a very crude version of what is happening. But you can glorify it in terms of the fancy pitch decks, fancy degrees of founders, or fancy problem statements, or fancy solutions, or upcoming technology. You can use AI in your pitch deck, saying that I'm using AI, etc., etc. But ultimately, this is what is happening.
Thank you.
Right? Nobody knows which marriage alliance will work, when it will stop working, which one will become successful, etc., etc. So you can see any big company like Flipkart, they got devalued. Byju's got devalued. So many companies are there whose valuation got increased because when the people giving money thought that customers are willing to come and customers are waiting for their next launch of products.
Yeah.
Right. So in a nutshell, these are the 7 things which I found out that are very, very relevant to each of us. Okay, each one of us can pick one and do it. Okay, it's not impossible, or it doesn't need a lot of money. How much money do we need to reach out to our friends? No. How do you reach out to target strangers? You can go to their communities or etc., at low cost and find out. Right? Influencer, yes, a big influencer might bring you volume, but he will not bring you big business. Right? Somebody has 5 million followers. Most people are likely to get aware of those products instead of getting you actual sales. Whereas a small influencer with 200K or 2 lakh followers might give you less awareness, but he might bring you more sales because people like that small guy. So all things are there. Okay. Yes, very quickly. Next question.
So my question is like, if our venture is D2C, then it's easy to reach out to targeted customer. But what if it is B2B and the strangers are the company or the some business people who are strangers to us, but still we want to reach to them? How do we reach to them?
Same thing, man. You ask referrals from your past colleagues, or you bring those people who have connections who can give you access, or you can use LinkedIn. Do some company wide search and find out which people is there in which department, or what is the designation, etc. Or you go to networking events where these people will come, let's say CI meeting, SOCHAM meeting, FSCCI meeting, etc., right? So the method is the same.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to the next slide. So the next slides are more focused on the communication aspect, on how do you really pitch your product or services to your customer. Okay, now these are the channels which you should use. Okay.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so now this is the most fundamental thing which I found out from my research. Okay, of how to reach out to the 1,000 customers. Okay, so what do you think from these two pictures? Very quickly.
You start
One is
small.
learning to walk and other is running.
Okay.
Trying to win the race, yeah.
Yes. So basically, this young child, when we were kids, we were trying to learn how to walk, how to run. Okay. On the other hand, when somebody like Usain Bolt or somebody who is at our age, now we are trying to for efficiencies. You know, how quickly can we do? What should be the correct posture? You know, how much energy should be spent? How much should my weight be? How much should my speed be? Etc. 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 So you're all talking about numbers, efficiencies, which bring you scale, which bring you results. You know, that 0.1% or that 0.1 second which gets reduced will bring more value. However, when we are very young, you know, if we start to think about, you know, the numbers. Okay, I walked for 4 steps today and I will walk for 5 steps tomorrow. Okay, no. Then next day I will start running. Okay, then the 7th day I will start running even fast. So that is also one thought for, you know, scaling up, right? Which one makes sense? You know, trying to learn first or trying to, you know, learn fast, trying to do things fast. You know, when we are startups, when we are very in very early stages, it makes sense for us to learn, okay, rather than, you know, trying to achieve efficiencies. So definitely our approach should be such that we should do things which do not scale at we should do things which do not scale at the beginning of our venture. Okay, what are those things which do not scale? For example, if you buy an iPhone, okay, will you get let's say you let's say there is a famous author. Okay, there is a famous author like uh, uh, okay, let's say there is a famous author like J.K. Rowling. Okay, now there are so many books which are getting sold at scale in various countries, etc., etc. From each book, it is getting increased. Now, can she give us a, you know, author signed book to each of their customers who is purchasing the book? No, right? It's very difficult for her to sign each one of the book. That's something which cannot scale. So those are such things which we can do at an early stage. Now, what if you come up with a product where you try to give something special to the customer? That's something special of, you know, getting a small signature from a very famous influencer as a token of somebody who buying that gift or product. So that is possible when we are small. Okay, but that is something which we should do early on. So instead of thinking at scale, okay, if I do this, I will not be able to scale it. Instead of that mindset, if we can incorporate this mindset where, okay, when I scale up, I can anyways not do so many things, but when I am small, I can do so many more things. Okay, if we change our mindset to doing things which do not scale when we are early, we might be able to give our customers a better customer experience. Okay, any queries on this? Okay.
So doing giving a freebie with the product or something, we should do it in the early on, and it does not necessarily be the same thing when we scale up. That's what this means, right, sir? If my
Yes.
understanding.
Yes. So if we give a gift and we see the moment we are giving a gift, we might start thinking, okay, what will I do when my sales increase to 10x? Will I give this gift or not? Then definitely I won't be able to give 50, 10x gifts. Okay.
Yes.
So that mindset of doing things when we are at scale, when we are at a later stage, should be very different compared to the mindset which we should have when we are at very early stage. At very early stage, we can do things which do not scale. Okay, this
Got it.
will open up our opportunities to give our customers a better experience. Got it, right? Okay. So I'm going to show you a 2000-year-old persuasion technique, and it is, first, it was called rhetorical triangle by Aristotle. Okay, what is this? Now it starts with ethos, logos, and pathos. Okay, so what is ethos, logos, pathos? Ethos is basically how do I build trust? How do I build credibility? Okay, logos is how do I explain logically? Pathos is how do I connect emotionally? Okay, so let's try to think from various point of views. Okay, how do I build trust? Now, when I was working in some company called Ask Me Bazaar in Delhi. Okay, and my task was to go to various retailers in eastern part of Delhi, and then get them onboarded to this particular platform. And then what was I trying to pitch? I was trying to pitch them that, hey, if you partner with our platform, instead of you taking the product from the distributor, we will make you take the product directly from the manufacturer. Okay, in that way you are eliminating the middleman, and you will get more margins when you sell the product in your retail store. Okay, then that person asked me some questions. Okay, what is that question? Sir, why should I trust you? I have my relationship with my distributor for many years. You are some new guy. If you come after 2 years and say that, my business stopped because of XYZ reasons, now can I go back to my previous relationship with this distributor? No, that is gone. No, why should I trust you? Yes, you have some solution, but why should I trust you? Okay, so this is something anybody can ask us, right? Why should customers buy our product? What is so good about it, or what is so relevant about it? Why should they even give you some time to watch or listen? Okay, how do you approach and try to build the trust? Okay, so this is the first thing. Okay, the logos is how do I explain? Now for us, our product is much better than the competitors products from our point of view. Now if I ask all of you to give a pitch about your venture, you will always, or we will always say from our point of view that, hey, this is better, this has more protein, this has more fiber, this has more XY than what the competitor is offering. It is offering less fat, it is offering you more value, less price, etc., etc. Now, I want you to think about a situation where you went to a five-star hotel, very rich hotel or a restaurant. Okay. Now, what do we get there? We get a good experience. Okay. Now, to get a good experience, what are those restaurants doing? They're arranging fancy lights. They're arranging fancy furniture. They're spending a lot on interiors. Okay. So now just imagine what if they put a price tag and specification on each of the thing which is there. Okay, so now you go to a restaurant and you see everywhere there are so many stats, numbers, explanations, photographs, where is this table bought from IKEA, and okay, when was it manufactured, etc., etc. So if you see so much of information, what will happen? Yes, the restaurant is trying to give an experience which is kind of like telling us that this is a very premium hotel. You are coming and sitting on a table which costs us 10 lakhs. So what should we understand? We should understand that the amount of explanation we can give about our product or service to others is very limited. Okay, and this applies to all of us. When let's say you are going on a car or on a motorcycle on the road, now you will see so many billboards. Now each billboard from their point of view is trying to explain that, hey, why we are good. Okay, now there are 10 billboards and my concentration is where? My concentration is on the road. I'm already stressed out with my work which happened. Okay, I'm already, thinking about what I should do next. Okay, I'm already concerned about my finances, etc., etc. So everybody is in a different emotional state altogether. And each one of them is trying to give information. Okay, so it is one thing to be logical, and the second thing to be how much can I pitch? Okay, so here comes the third important aspect, which is emotional connect. Now we fundamentally need to understand what emotional state is the other person in, and then start how to pitch. For example, in between this session, few minutes back, somebody said, hey, some people are not able to come to this session. Now, those people must be very angry. Okay, why is this link not working? I'm trying to join. Now, if they suddenly come to the session, they will be in that angry mode for a few seconds or few minutes before they calm down and participate and join. So for them, if I am telling the same thing to them also and to you also, they will perceive it very differently. Okay, so we should start from this question, that what is the emotional state in that other person in? Okay, and then understand what is their background. Okay, what did they study, what are they doing, etc., etc., and so that I can understand how can I explain my logic to them in the language which they understand. Okay, and then what happens if I combine this logic with emotion and trust? You are a better communicator, and you are also going to persuade to them, asking them to buy your service or product. Okay, so these are the fundamental questions which we will get. How do I approach people? Okay, so maybe you can look at their names. If you are going to a networking event, you can see their names and search them in LinkedIn. Okay, who are they? Okay, then the second thing is, why should they even listen to us or watch a product which is made by us? Okay, how do I get my pitch right? So how much time do I have to even get some consideration from that particular customer? Okay, so in my opinion, it is very, very less. The first pitch is not to make them buy our product. It is to give them one more step forward. We should get the second question from them. Okay, let me meet you for some more time and to discuss. That itself is like getting the pitch right. Okay, instead of thinking about going to a customer and making them purchase the product on the spot, it is very difficult to get it. So that is why getting our pitch right, getting an elevator pitch of 5 seconds, of 10 seconds, of 15 seconds, we should have a version for each one of such criteria, because we don't know what emotional state is the other person is. If there is turbulent emotion in the person who we are speaking to, then our pitch should be very different. If that person is in a calm environment, pitch should be different. If he's inquisitive, if he's interested in that domain which we are talking, our pitch should be different. Okay, so getting our pitch depends on others. And also, how can I delight them? At the early stages of the venture, as I said, we should be willing to, do things which are not scale. How can I delight my customer? What additional value can I add which makes him very happy, makes him probably feel that this is the best thing they have done in their life, and they go to other people and give word of mouth referrals. Hey, I bought this particular thing from this particular platform, and I found it very, very good. The customer service is very good. They called me and to find feedback. They followed up with me rigorously and asked me whether my product reached or not. They asked me how the etc., is there. So some delight, if we can delight the early adopters, if we can delight the early customers with some additional value addition, which the other person will find value in, and if we delight them, our word of mouth channel will increase. Okay, and the second thing is about how long can I hold their attention? If that totally depends on the other emotional state of the other person. Okay, and how much planning is required? Okay, so typically, if we are trying to approach a sale and have some target, let's say I want to close something, we may not need to start and planning end to end of everything. Okay, so the general attitude, if we think like this, saying that I have a plan for doing 50% of the task, and rest 50% I will see as it happens. Okay, let me see what will happen. Okay, first I have some plan for the first 50%. So what will I do? According to this logic, if I'm going to some networking event, I will dress well. I will have my visiting card. I will have my everything, my posture, my dress, everything in place, and I will watch the other person and try to observe in what emotional state he is in, whether he's willing to talk, etc., etc. That is the bare minimum thing. Now, what happens after that? I can't plan. So I can't plan everything. So Bare minimum planning is required for, let's say, even for 50%, if we have a plan, that's good. We don't need to have 100% ready plans, ready-made plans. Okay, so next. Now this is a model, okay, which is of very, very interest to us. It's called IDA model. Okay, first is attention. You first want the consumer to be aware of what we are talking. Okay, so if without awareness, okay, if I tell you that there is a new technology which is in the form of half the size of your platform, your smartphone, but it can do 10 times more than what a smartphone is. You are not even aware of the technology, right? If you are not even aware of it, how can I say directly, say, will you buy it? Say there's a smartphone with this feature which I have talked about, will you buy it? So first we need to understand that is the other person aware about it or not. Okay, and the second person is, hey, is it interesting to them? Okay, I know for a fact that, you know, when I am traveling from my home to this place, I know that there is a sweet shop. I am aware of it. Okay, but will I want to go and buy in that sweet shop? Is that interesting to me? Maybe because I ate their sweets. Somebody came to my house from that sweet shop and they gave me some sweets. Okay, maybe I am interested. Okay, so after interest, after awareness, we should get interest. Next is you evaluate. Okay, whether you want to go ahead or not, whether you want to eat or not, when is the situation when you will like to eat. Okay, that burning desire should be there. Something like I want it. Let's say smartphone like iPhone. People know what an iPhone is. People have interest about what iPhone is, what camera features it has, what size it is, who is making it, you know, what is color, what color it is, how many cameras are there. But still, they may want to have the desire to buy it someday. Okay, if they don't have the desire, then they will not go and purchase the product. So can there be anything? So mostly this framework of grabbing their attention first and making them like it and building a desire and getting them to act on it. So it is called AIDA framework. Okay, so now I will also give you a couple of more frameworks which can help you in narrowing down these 4 boxes. Okay, this is called behavioral segmentation. Okay, it's just a replica of what the IDA model is. And now see, when you're going to a customer and trying to talk about it, first of all, is he aware of such a solution or not? Is he aware of your competitors or not? Okay, now if you are going and saying that I am building Meesho kind of platform, Flipkart and Amazon are already existing. Does he even know that some things are being sold in e-commerce? Okay, that is the first thing. Okay, he may be aware of Flipkart and Amazon, but he may have never tried it. Okay, so our pitch should be very different when the customer has not tried it. Okay, and our pitch should be different when they have tried it. Okay, even if they have not tried it, they may have an opinion. Okay, let us say I know for a fact that military people use machine guns. Okay, I'm aware of it, but I have never tried how a machine gun will get fired. But I will have an opinion. Hey, is that machine gun good or not? AK-47, small pistol. So my opinion may not matter or may not be correct or accurate, but I will have some opinion, a negative opinion or a favorable opinion or a neutral opinion. Or in other case, I am aware of Amazon. I have tried Amazon and I found the experience to be very good. So I have subscribed to their Prime. So now I am becoming a repeat customer. Okay. However, I have also tried several other platforms like eBay. Okay, I tried eBay and I didn't get the delivery on time, so I rejected it. I don't want it. Okay, now they could have been those cases where they liked it, but they never came back. Maybe the eBay didn't offer them good value. And they were like, okay, fine, we can order, but we don't want to order it. When you're repeating, you're loyal to something. Okay, you can switch from one thing to another thing. Okay, or you could be loyal to some other brand. Okay, if you are loyal to our brand, what is the frequency of usage? Is he using it very, very highly? Or is he using it moderately, or is he using it lightly? Okay, so this now understand that our customer can be in any of the box, our first 1,000 customers. So accordingly, the way we explain, using the ethos logos pathos framework, and the way we explain from this AIDA framework should be very different. So the way the explanation will be very different for each of the box and the customer. Okay. Now another framework is something called search dynamics. Okay. So this is also linked to the AIDA model and the rational explanation. First, they have, if I'm trying to buy a laptop, okay, what will I do? I will go to internet and find out, okay, there is HP laptop, there is Apple laptop, there is Dell laptop, okay, XYZ laptops are there. Okay, these could be the total set. Okay, X, Y, Z, A, B, C. There could be 1,000 varieties of laptops which I am not aware of, but they could be there in the market. Okay, nobody knows everything, right? So there's some total set which is always there in the market, and then you break it up. Awareness. They could be aware of only few brands because they are using the channels to reach out to the customers regularly. We are aware of Sprite, we are aware of Coca-Cola, we are aware of this thing, but we are probably not aware of Paperboat when they came. Okay, so how did Paperboat build an awareness that Paperboat is also a cool drink which is there? So first they built an awareness. So their communication first to the customer is about building an awareness. The second is consideration. What is consideration? Am I willing to buy Paperboat or not? Am I willing to try an experiment? Do I have interest? Okay, do I have some desire? Okay, interest and desire come under consideration set. So if I have an interest and if I have a desire, then only I will consider three options. Okay, I'm willing to consider Paperboat. I'm willing to consider and thumbs up. I'm willing to consider Coca-Cola, etc. to drink. Okay, but just because I'm willing to consider, I probably won't have that particular choice to make. For example, if I go to a bakery and I know for a fact that I am okay drinking Paperboat, but that Paperboat should be available in that retailer store or in the canteen of my office or in the shopping mall, right? Just because consideration is there, if that availability is not there, if accessibility is not there, right, that will not fall under choice set. So this is almost under AIDA, right? Action kind of a thing. And finally, you will make one decision. You will only drink one kind of Coca-Cola or thumbs up at one particular point of time, right? So we will not take 4 or 5 different varieties and put it in our stomach, right? So this is another framework. Definitely why we should know these things is the core thing which we are trying to address, which is my customer in an early stage could be aware of my brand, could be having interest of my competitor, could be having desire to buy competitor products. So in whatever stage he is in, we should promote our communication accordingly. We should change our logic, our path, our logos accordingly to reach out to that particular customer. Okay. And then this particular thing altogether is a very difficult is an altogether very different kind of an approach. It is called spin selling. Okay, so what is spin selling? This itself is like a 4-hour workshop. Okay, now we discussed about why analysis, right? Why you need to ask why. Okay, and then so what? Okay, you have a product, so what? So why should we buy? Okay, and then we discussed about AIDA model. Okay, people are aware about it, people have interest about it, but people are not having desire about it. So when I said that each person in each box is very different, now how do we actually sell our product to somebody who is aware and somebody who has tried our competitor, but and he is loyal to our competitor? So in this case, somebody is aware, somebody has tried, somebody is repeating, and somebody is loyal to our brand. How will I pitch about my new product offering or service to that person? Okay, how to do that is this particular framework called SPIN selling. Okay, so first let me think of an example. Okay, let us say HubSpot has some HubSpot is an app, or it's a website, or it's a platform where they are offering a digital version of visiting cards to be stored. Okay, when I use that HubSpot app, they are offering this feature where I can, I can have the digital copy. I can take a photograph of that visiting card, and that is going to store in their database, and all the information, text in that visiting card is going to go into their Excel kind of a thing. So if I take a photograph of one visiting card, if I go to a networking event, I will get 30 visiting cards. So I will take all the photograph of each visiting card, and then HubSpot, what will it do? It will convert it into an Excel. So I can directly know how many people have approached, who is a potential stakeholder, should I converse with him, where did I meet him? I can add all details. So let's say that is some solution. Okay, and I am in what situation? I never knew that such a kind of solution existed. I always used to keep all my visiting cards in one box and put it in my drawer and never use it again. And it is not accessible every time. So I go to a next networking event, and I came to know that one more colleague of him, I have met him in a previous networking event. I want to recollect his name, but I can't recollect his name because the visiting card is in hard copy and it is in my drawer. But if there is a HubSpot, I can search Harsha. Oh yes, I have met Harsha at this place, etc., etc. So it is offering some solution, but I was not aware of it. Okay, but I had interest about it. Okay, once I came to know about it, I had desire to use, so I went and downloaded that app and used it. Okay, so now if I were to sell that solution to all of you, right? If I were to sell that solution to all of you, now first I'm going to ask, hello participants. I'm going to ask questions related to situation. Okay, hello all participants of this workshop. Are you all going to any networking event? Then some of you may say yes, some of you may say no. Okay, those who are going to networking events or those who are not going to networking events, do you get visiting cards often? Then you may say yes, we do keep getting a lot of visiting cards, and we don't know, and we store it, etc. And then I ask you, what are you going to do with the visiting cards? And then you say that, I'm asking situation related question. Then you say that, I pick up the card and I compile all of them and I throw it in my office desk or in my drawer in my home. Okay, these are the situation questions which I'm trying to ask. Now this totally depends. This question I am trying to ask to figure out in which box you are in, whether you are aware of it, whether you have tried it, whether you have interest about it, etc., etc. Okay, so awareness is what we are trying to check. Now in problem, next is a problem which I will ask you. Okay, are you having trouble accessing those cards wherever you go? Then you say yes, I am having an accessibility issue because I can't take all those visiting cards and put them in my pocket or in my handbag everywhere and try to use them. I will only use it whenever I need it. Okay, then I will ask you, now that I have understood that there is a problem, yes, you are not having accessibility to the visiting card which you got it in one networking event. Now what am I going to ask? I am going to ask something related to implication. Hey, by not getting access to your visiting cards wherever you are going, by not having visiting cards accessible to wherever you are going, are you missing out on something? Okay, I want to ask you, among all the people who have given you visiting cards, if I were to ask you, how many people should you contact immediately? I mean, there is a partnership opportunity with that person. How will you remember? Yes, right? Then you will understand, oh yes, I have met 100 people, and definitely some can be approached, and which I thought about approaching them when I got the card, but because I kept the card somewhere, I forgot about it. Now, because all the cards are mixed, I don't know which person was that. I cannot recollect their name. I cannot recollect their band name. Now, the implication is, are you losing some business opportunity because you forgot about which person you have met in which place? At least there is no timestamp on that card to know that, on 25th March, you are there on your story event. At least with that date, you will get some idea, right? So are you losing a business opportunity is the implication. So what is the situation question? Situation question is I'm trying to figure out whether you are using a visiting card or not, whether you are getting a visiting card or not, how we are trying to use it, etc. etc. What is the problem? I'm trying to ask you whether not having access to that card is a problem for you or not. Because if you don't consider that as a problem, then there's no point in going to the implication. Obviously, right? So I will cut down that conversation then and there itself and end my deal, and I will go and pursue some other customer. Now, if the problem is there, and then if I ask the implication, are you losing out business opportunities because you wanted to follow up with some people, but you did not want to, but you forgot about it, and now you cannot recollect it. So you lost some business opportunity, potential business partnership. Then you say yes. And then is the need payoff. Then is where that is the time where I will pitch about my product. Hey, I have an app called HubSpot. If I tell you how to do that, you will be able to have a timestamp of each conversation. You will be able to note down if you wanted to extend a conversation or not in a separate tab. Okay, you can so will it help you solve the problem? And then I may get a response of yes or no. Okay, then if the person is willing to willing to accept my solution, then he is a potential customer. Okay, so this is a very basic explanation of how to do spin selling. Now, why we all should know spin selling? Because one of our key approach of going to the market is to reach out to our friends and colleagues. Okay, now when we reach out to our friends and colleagues, it is very likely that they themselves will go and pitch to the potential customer. We may not have first access to talking to that customer. Now, because we know some approaches, because we know about our product, how to talk about it, our friends and colleagues also should be able to talk about the product as confidently as our startup entrepreneur do. Okay, if not the friends and family, at least the co-founders, at least the team members who are working in the startup, whenever they go to pitch, they should also be talking in the same language, in the same way, so that your probability of getting a conversion from every interaction improves. Okay, so that is why frameworks like this help us in improving our conversations. Now, ultimately, once again coming back to these things which we discussed about effectuation. Okay, what can I do at this point of time to reach out to the 1,000 customers? Who am I? What am I? What do I like? What is the customer? Who is the customer? What does he like? Can I go to a community where he is there? Can I ask what do I know? Okay, do I know search engine optimization? Do I know search engine marketing? Do I know how to create a website? Do I know how to identify an influencer? Do I know what social media platforms are there? And the third one is, whom do I know? Yes, there are so many Instagram followers, but do I know somebody who is an influencer? Do I know someone who can give me access to that influencer? Okay, can I use LinkedIn to go and connect with that relevant person and push? So ultimately, it is that what can I do? Hustle, working hard with creativity. Okay, overcoming challenges, planning till what? Planning at least for 50% of the task. So that, and then having an attitude that okay, I will see as I keep doing some actions, I will keep figuring out how to pass. Okay, in that way, we are not waiting for the perfect opportunity. We are preparing for surprises and uncertainty. We are starting with what you have, right? We are forming partnerships, and we are setting. How are we forming partnerships? Is by these channels, right? These are the channels. Okay, going to target exchanges, asking your friends and family, going out to the places where they ask, forming partnerships with influencers, asking press coverage, creating marketing content with somebody which can go viral, asking retailers or newspapers or incubators or your stakeholders, your friends and family to put your logo, product, everything in their house if they agree, and if you think it makes sense. So that's how we form partnerships. Okay, how much can you lose? Affordable loss. How much hit can I take? by doing all these approaches in trying to reach out to customers. Okay, and ultimately controlling what we can control and leaving the uncontrollables to some other location. Okay, so in the next week, Mr. Guhesh Ramanathan is going to take session on pivoting, and Mr. Vignesh is going to take a session on pitching about your venture. Okay, so this is all I have, and I want to know if you have found it useful. Okay, so I will share the link of my LinkedIn so we can stay connected in LinkedIn as well.
Sir, forum here, I just had a doubt. Is a spin selling similar to solution selling?
No. Solution selling, I don't know what solution selling is. Solution selling is, spill selling is basically, yes. What do you mean by solution selling?
Solution selling is more of, something like a consultative selling wherein you first understand the pain areas of the client and then accordingly pitch your solution or the product.
Yes. If that is what is meant by solution selling, this spin selling is an approach which is very, very good to improve your own communication and negotiation skills, and identify who is that customer, because this India itself has some 140 crore people. So who is my customer among these 140 crore people? I can't go. I don't have access to everyone. I don't have trust with everyone. I can't explain my product to everyone. Those people could be in whatever emotional states they are in. So we need to have some approach to narrow down how to identify our customer and how to pitch.
Okay, got it.
So I have a question. It is related to the last session, but we'll go with this as well. In the last session, you also talked about our venture is as good as our weakest link. So
Yes.
what are the strategies to figure out that, okay, this is the weakest link of our product, and how to work around that?
Basically, your question is how do you identify the weakest link, right? So think about what scares you the most. Okay, and have a priority for that scary list. Okay, that is probably the weakest link. Does it make sense?
But there are so many factors that can scare us. If it is
What scares you
related to the
more?
product side and or the sales side, there are different factors. Then how do we identify? If it is related to the selling thing, then something scares us. But if it is related, since we are building a product, so there are some features related to product as well. So how do we identify these?
See, all I can tell you so how long have you been working on this venture, ma'am?
So since last year, the ideation
So
started, and
one more thing which can help us is when we keep talking to potential mentors of our company, potential stakeholders, potential partners, potential team members, definitely our understanding of what the highest risk is improves. Okay, so this comes from experience. I think uh, that's the that's the way it goes, ma'am. Because there is no one answer saying that this is what it comes from experience is what I think from my understanding.
thank you, sir.
Okay, so any other questions? Okay, so how did you find this session? Is it useful? Is it too heavy or is it too light? Because this is like an MVP deck for me.
So we really
Very
liked
insightful,
all
sir.
the sessions. In fact,
Good.
first time we were able to find, properly understand how to go about deciding the versions of your MVP, what all features to go in MVP last session. And again, this, like the earlier sessions, this was also very insightful, how to go about it. Really, sir. Very useful, very insightful. Thank you, sir.
So very informative, and I think you covered everything concisely, very beautifully. Like we understood so much in just one session.
Okay, thank you.
Very
Very insightful, sir, and to the point. And actually, you are actually literally, linking the puzzles, the piece puzzles that you showed us in the beginning. It is exactly that. That's what you have done through all these sessions. Wonderful, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Very
there
helpful.
were there were a lot of things which we didn't know before we started taking these sessions. There were a lot of things we were not aware of, but now we feel more confident and more charged. Thank you so much, Sri.
Okay, thank you.
So
Thank
I
you.
think the case studies that you share makes it very easy to understand. I mean, it is more of like a layman thing. You make it, and then it is very digestible to understand all this terminology.
Okay. Yeah, one more thing which I wanted to add. So I think our team must have shared you the recommended leadings. So if you go to this particular link on consumer business, so you will have more ideas on, there is more detailed explanation of all these 7 famous things. And there is this blog called First Thousand. Okay, read First Thousand. So I read a lot of case studies, and then I figured out that whatever is written here, no, the 7 steps are mostly the most famous techniques to reach out to 1,000 customers. So you can read this, and then there is one more article which says 60 more ideas. So that might trigger you again some more creative ideas on how to make things. Okay, so there are some 60 ideas and then again some 53 ideas how to get your customers. So I didn't cover it because it's highly relevant to the specific problem statement of a startup. So it would have been more like a Gyan session rather than something inside. Okay. So go through those links and we'll stay connected.
Thanks, sir. It was quite useful sessions, and we will use it in our practical, in our startups. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
I
sir.
have a
Thank you.
small doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, so you were given different models, right? I mean, these are should they interlink each other, or which is more precise for our venture? Should we go concentrate on that?
See, ideally, these all are, pieces of a big puzzle which we all of us are trying to solve. As I said, business model is all about identifying that logic of how these things function. So if we are aware of these certain concepts, we can reduce our time to fail. Okay, these are all not solutions to succeed. More or less, these are all solutions to reduce our time for failure. And we will keep iterating. And so typically the attitude should be, hey, okay, I can do 50% of this, 50% I'll figure out how to do it when we go. Okay, so nobody knows. I actually am running short of time, but otherwise I have so many examples to give. Yeah. Okay.
So what will be the next course of action, sir, as today ends?
So we will have a session on pivoting, which means you worked on your lean canvas, and now you understand how that is linked to MVP, and now you understand how that MVP early adopters, how that product spin selling, all that and you talk to customers. Now customers will give bad feedback, or customers will say, I don't want this. Now what you should do? You should try to move to something else, and that approach is called pivoting. Okay, so that pivoting, how to do it, because it's also very essential and it's a common thing only. It's not like every startups will avoid this. Many startups will have pivoted. Okay, Netflix is one example. They started with DVDs, now they are doing online streaming. So it is not what they did. Okay, so that way. And the last one is about pitching. Pitching, you will understand how to make a pitch deck, how to talk about your venture, how to understand what situation is the other person in, how much should we talk, etc., will be covered in pitching, and then we will close this bootcamp. Okay.
So what would be the last measure to get to the next phase, sir? Phase 3?
We will let you know. It's mostly lean canvas and pitch video. And some Q&As. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Thank you everyone. Bye.
Thank Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.